In the Native American Culture series, today we read about the Cheyenne people by Shalini Saxena. The Cheyenne tribe is one of many Native American tribes of the Great Plains. Before the 1700s, the Cheyenne lived in what is now Minnesota, where they were farmers, hunters, and gatherers. Then they moved to today's North Dakota, where they traveled from place to place hunting buffalo. The Ojibwe, a Cheyenne enemy, attacked the Cheyenne there and drove them south and west. The tribe separated into the Northern and Southern Cheyenne by 1832. Today, most Northern Cheyenne live in Montana, while the Southern Cheyenne live in Oklahoma. Today, the Northern and Southern Cheyenne are separated, but they are united by their common past. Before the Cheyenne moved to the plains, they were agricultural. They stayed in one place to farm, so they built homes that could last a long time. These were earth lodges, which meant they were partly or wholly covered by earth or soil. After the Cheyenne started hunting buffalo, they needed homes they could take with them as they followed the buffalo herds. Teepees or tipis were the answer. These cone-shaped tents were made of wooden poles and buffalo hide. A village of teepees could be packed up within hours. Did you know? Europeans brought horses to the New World for the first time. Usually, Cheyenne women built, set up, and took down their family's teepee. At first, dogs pulled the teepees on sleds called trowai. Later, the Cheyenne used horses instead. As an agricultural people, the Cheyenne grew crops such as corn, squash, and beans. They also fished, hunted small animals like rabbits and skunks, and gathered wild rice, fruits, and roots. After the Cheyenne began hunting buffalo on the plains, the big animals became their main source of food. The Cheyenne way of hunting changed once they got horses from other tribes. It was much easier to follow the buffalo on horse than on foot. Deer, elk, antelope, and sheep provided other sources of meat. Buffalo were used for food as well as to make clothing, housing, tools, and more. Here, the Cheyenne honor the buffalo in the buffalo dance. The Cheyenne called themselves Tsetsetas, which is thought to mean the beautiful people. The Cheyenne language is part of Algonquian family of languages. Even though there are only 14 letters in the Cheyenne alphabet, many English phrases can be expressed with just one word in Cheyenne. For example, "What is your name?" is Nitoshewe. All Cheyenne communicated in the same language, and many even spoke a second or third language. Today, few young people speak Cheyenne, so the language is in danger of dying out. The word Cheyenne may be taken from a French word that was borrowed from a Sioux word. Cheyenne women wore dresses they made out of the skins of animals the tribe hunted, such as deer, sheep, or antelope. Men wore animal skin cloths around their waist. Women wore leather boots, while men wore flat leather shoes called moccasins. In winter, the Cheyenne kept warm by adding robes of buffalo skin and leggings. Beads or porcupine quills sometimes decorated clothing. Leaders wore feather headdresses on their head. Cheyenne clothing changed over time. Today, many of these items are only worn during special ceremonies. Did you know? Fringe was added to clothing as decoration, but it also had another purpose. As it moved, it helped keep bugs away. The detailed work seen on traditional Cheyenne clothing was usually created by women. Games, toys, sports, and education were a part of the traditional Cheyenne childhood. Instead of going to school, children learned from their elders. Both girls and boys were skilled at riding horses from a young age. Young boys played with bows and arrows. When they were old enough, they learned hunting, fishing, and fighting. Young girls played with dolls and toy teepees. They learned to cook, make clothes, and do other chores. Girls sometimes grew up to be warriors and hunters like boys did. Did you know? Lacrosse was one of the most popular games among the Cheyenne. Toys were used to prepare Cheyenne girls and boys for the tasks they would handle when they became adults. Here, Cheyenne girls are pictured with toy teepees. The major groups that led the Cheyenne were the Council of 44 and 7 military societies. 44 chiefs sat on the council and made decisions to keep peace among the 10 main Cheyenne bands. The 7 military societies made choices about warfare. The most famous and powerful of these was the Dog Soldier Society. Cheyenne women belonged to female societies, such as the Quiller Society, in which they decorated important clothing. Other societies focused on other areas of Cheyenne traditional life, such as dance. Did you know? The Contrary Society was made up of Cheyenne who did many things backward, like saying yes when they meant no. Cheyenne warriors had to guard their tribe against enemy tribes and white settlers. Living on the Great Plains meant that the Cheyenne came across other Plains tribes. Sometimes this contact was friendly. The Cheyenne traded buffalo hides for things they needed from other tribes, such as corn. The Cheyenne were also a key part of the horse trade, helping other tribes get horses. Other times, tribes would fight. This didn't always mean hurting or killing each other, though. Tribes sometimes stole horses or guns from each other. The Cheyenne also had a custom called counting coup, which meant touching an enemy in battle without hurting them. Did you know? Even though the different tribes of the Great Plains didn't always speak the same language, they communicated with each other using a series of hand signals known as Plains Sign Language. Some Cheyenne used coup sticks like this in battle to touch but not harm their enemies. This custom was meant to prove bravery. Although the Cheyenne worked hard, they also set aside time for different activities. Making crafts with beads and porcupine quills was popular, and so was pipe carving. The tribe gathered to hear stories about the past. Storytelling was a way to entertain as well as remember important people and events. Song and dance also helped bring the Cheyenne together. There were many songs about religion, nature, love, children, healing, and war. Did you know? The Cheyenne were said to have learned wolf songs by listening to wolves. Cheyenne men often sang wolf songs when they were traveling. Decorating clothing with porcupine quills or quilling took a lot of skill and practice. The Cheyenne religious tradition included many spirits, but the most important deities were the Wise One above and a god who lived under the ground. Many religious ceremonies and special objects reflected their beliefs. The most valuable items were 4 sacred arrows and a hat made of buffalo skin called the Sacred Medicine Hat. Every year, the Cheyenne took part in 2 of their most important ceremonies, the renewal of the sacred arrows and the sun dance. Some Cheyennes still carry on these ceremonies. Did you know? The sacred arrows were said to be found by a Cheyenne prophet named Sweet Medicine. The feathers of the arrows are replaced each year during the renewal of the sacred arrows ceremony. Those who take part in the sun dance may wear special clothing, paint their body, and spend several days praying and dancing, going without food or water for long periods of time. When the Cheyenne came into contact with white settlers, their lives changed quickly. Fighting between the Cheyenne and the U.S. military began in the 1850s. The Southern Cheyenne tried to make peace with the U.S. government. However, many Cheyenne were killed in surprise attacks, including the Sand Creek Massacre of 1864. The Northern Cheyenne helped defeat Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer and his troops in the Battle of the Little Bighorn. However, by the late 1870s, the Northern and Southern Cheyenne were forced to live on reservations. Did you know? Black Kettle was a Southern Cheyenne chief who tried to make peace before the Sand Creek Massacre. He later moved to a village in the Washita River where he was killed by Custer's soldiers. The Northern Cheyenne and Lakota Sioux fought together in the Battle of the Little Bighorn to guard their lands. Reservation life wasn't easy for the Cheyenne. They were forced to give up their customs. For many years, Cheyenne children were sent to schools where they could only speak English and had to dress like white children. The Southern Cheyenne went to an Oklahoma reservation which they shared with the Arapaho. The Northern Cheyenne went to the same reservation at first. Many left to return north though. Some were killed on the way. However, U.S. President Chester A. Arthur created a reservation for the remaining Northern Cheyenne in Montana in 1884. Did you know? Although they are separated by distance, the Northern and Southern Cheyenne are still in contact. The Northern Cheyenne guard the sacred medicine hat, and the Southern Cheyenne guard the sacred arrows. Among other problems on early Native American reservations, sickness was common and often deadly. In the 1960s and 1970s, the Cheyenne finally got more freedom from the U.S. government to make decisions about their future. Many Cheyennes still live on or near their reservations. There are schools for children to attend and businesses to provide jobs. Both reservations depend on ranching and farming for money. Today's Cheyenne have the same kinds of dress, jobs, and homes as other Americans. However, they take the time to come together to remember and honor the special history and customs they share. Did you know? The Cheyenne still have to fight to protect their land and resources from outside businesses. Ben Nighthorse Campbell, a Northern Cheyenne, was a U.S. Senator. He worked to solve issues important to his state and his Native American community.